That's my game. It's going to be nice to do something a little bit different. So let's get cracking with my presentation. So before I get started, is there anyone who's called Rolf in the audience who's going to be listening to my presentation today? And the reason why I ask is because Rolf's the only one who's going to break the internet. You know, I'm going to show you some really cool tips and tricks today. I'm going to show you some things that are new, that are different. And I just want to make sure we don't have Rolf here, because if everyone else is not called Rolf, then we're pretty much not going to break the internet, are we? So guys, hang tight, buckle up. We're going to go through things. We're going to go through in a nice chilled manner. It's 7:45 in the evening here. I've already done a couple of hours training today. So let's just be chilled and enjoy it. Now, just a little bit of a disclaimer. I have been known to train a few old dogs in my time. So a little bit of new tricks that might be coming your way. I think that as sources, we're always learning. That is something that I really enjoy about our industry. I was frantically taking notes in yesterday's presentation, and I actually updated my training this morning before I even actually delivered 4 hours of training this morning, because I learned some great things yesterday. So guys, it's great to be here. Shout out to SourceCon. Thanks for inviting me to be here again. Just a little bit about me. I live in Johannesburg in South Africa. As I say, it's 7:45 in the evening here. I've held off having my glass of wine, but I will be having one after this session. I'm a solopreneur, and my company is called The Talent Hunter, and I absolutely love what I do. So what is it that I do? Well, I'm a global talent sourcing trainer and freelance talent sourcer. So I do loads of training. I train all over the world. I'm often up at some ungodly hour, like 4 a.m. to train to Australia, or up training late to the US, North America, and I love it. I love meeting people all over the world, and shout out to anyone who's attending, and thanks for being in this room. Those of you who've attended my training, it's great to have you here. Also, this is one of my side hustles. I love presenting at conferences. I love giving back. I love sharing knowledge. I just really wish we could get back to in-person events. I haven't been on an airplane once in 2 years now, and the time is here. So I look forward to that. As some of you know, and I know that Carrie is a fan of this, my side hustle. I spend a lot of time in the South African bushveld, and I do a lot of wildlife photography. I mean, you can't really live in a country as beautiful as South Africa and not want to take photos of our wonderful wildlife. So guys, that's what I do. I have a profile on Behance if you want to go check it out. And one day when I'm big, this is what I'm going to be doing full time. So look forward to it. Also, another thing I want to give a shout out to, apparently the SourceCon Digital Conference has got the highest number of South Africans registered for the conference. So shout out to everyone from the SourceCon South Africa community. I have run this community for about 4 years now. I love it, and welcome everyone here from South Africa. Let's hear some noise in the chat, and let's start introducing ourselves to this global audience. Vim, I think it's something like that, my friend, but I'm sure you can find it, being the phenomenal sourcer that you are. So let's just cover what we are looking at today. So first up, I thought I want to start with something that is quite overlooked, I found, in our industry, and that's using the power of image and emoji searches. It really is quite mind-blowing what we can find using these two skills. When Tangi phoned, she said, Van, I'm getting a lot of questions around GitHub. How do we source on GitHub? Those kind of things. And I thought, let's run a little bit of a section on GitHub. Let's talk about, where we're going to look for tech talent and how are we going to use it correctly. Then we're going to look at some general searches that we can just put into Google, how we can find CVs of tech talent. Then I want to share with you some of my favorite websites for sourcing. And then where else? Because we never just end there, do we? We're just going to be like, where else? Where else can we look? And that's the beauty of sourcing, is that we're never going to run out of options. Good evening, Batman. I'm glad that you could join us. So guys, shout out to those of you in the audience. Please don't be this person. If you do have any questions after the training, you are going to find me online. I'm sure you are. You're great sources, and I'm happy to answer any questions. But stay with me, okay? So the first thing that I want to be touching on is the power of using image and emoji searches. And I want to give a shout out to Balash, who did the closing keynote yesterday. He is one of the guys who I've done a lot of research with this on, and I really, really enjoy searching like this. So the first one I want to touch on is using images. And for this, I really recommend using profile images. So someone's LinkedIn profile images, or their Twitter, or their Facebook, or something like that. So what you need to do is you need to hover over their profile picture. You need to right click on your mouse, and you need to click on where it says search Google for image, okay? And let me show you how that works. So an example, you all heard from the lovely Shamila yesterday, my friend from the Netherlands. And if you right click on her image, look how much more information we get about the lovely Shamila. I get her Twitter feed. I get that she presents at Sourcing Summit. So why is this important? Why do we need to do this? This speaks to your reach out. We need to start working a little bit harder on our reach outs. We need to start thinking a little bit like a marketer when it comes to email campaigns. And really, when you find out more about someone and you can say, hey, I saw you presented at Sourcing Summit Tech, or I saw you presenting somewhere else, or I saw your Twitter feed. This is a great way not to make sure that, that you are not doing that like cold reach out, that it's a warm reach out, and the person straight away will say, oh, wow, this person has done their homework. I did another example with another lovely lady who presented yesterday, Ella. She always does a great job. And here you can find Ella. You can find her in a Slack community, also where she's presented at conferences, you know, different ways that you can find tech talent. So what you do is you hover over their profile. So if we have a look at Ella's picture over there, you hover over it, you right click on your mouse, and what is going to come up, let me just go back on my presentation, is this block. And you click on search Google for image. Okay. Also, another shout out to Ronnie Bratcher. He taught me this trick. This is an amazing search engine called Face Search. And what it does is it actually saves you time from going into those Google advanced settings, separating people's faces, all of those things. So what I recommend how we use this is that we use a face search engine face search engine in order to be able to find diverse talent. So it is spelled incorrectly on purpose, by the way. So I went there, I typed in these keywords, I put in engineer, Kubernetes, I put in Chicago. And what you can see over there are the images that are popping up. And what is great to see here, if you're looking for diverse candidates, if you're looking for female candidates, straight away, you don't have to waste time by going into their profiles. No, Gary, this isn't Google Lens. This is a search engine called Face Search, and it's a great tool. Now, another thing that I want to show you on this is, as you will see from a lot of the results that are up here, is that you will see that you have got LinkedIn.com coming up as your results. So the profile pictures are coming up from LinkedIn. Now, a good idea is actually to get rid of that. So if I run the search and I go engineer, Kubernetes, Chicago, minus LinkedIn, okay, what I get now is I get results coming from people's personal websites, from their Twitter feeds, from their blogs, from sites like TopTal, from wherever they are can be found. And this for me is a great platform in order to be able to go and find new places to go and search for talent. So if you're ever sitting back there and you're thinking to yourself, I don't know where else to look, go to Face Search, put in your requirements, put in your keywords, get rid of LinkedIn, and go and have a look at the options that are there. Okay. Guys, if you are having a problem with the image search in Google Lens, it's because you've loaded Google Lens onto your Chrome extensions. I had the same problem. You just have to disable Google Lens, okay, and then it will work. Right, so moving on, let's have a look at emoji searches. Now, I love emojis. I can have full conversations with people all about emojis. And what I want to talk about here is give you a couple of search strings. So if you have a look at this first search string over here, I have thrown in the snake emoji, which also means, anyone? Python. Okay, excellent. So when we are looking for people who are Python developers, what I really encourage you to do is to use the snake emoji. Just a disclaimer, you are going to see some pictures of some Pythons, like real life, like snaky Python things. But hopefully, if you put in the developer, engineer, or coder, that isn't going to happen. And you can then go and X-ray into any site. Okay, Megan, I like that. Megan speaks emojis. I like that. Other emojis that we can find. This is a lady sitting behind her laptop. This is called a woman technologist. So again, this one, I can go and have a look for all the women technologists based in San Francisco. By saying minus status in this, this example over here, minus status, what it does is it gets rid of the actual tweets. So you can find people's profiles. So here we go. Here's a non-tech example. If you're looking for female nurses, throw the emoji into your search string as well as you're X-raying from Google or wherever it might be into Instagram. And there we go. We're going to be picking up female health workers. Very clever. So some other ones that we can use. What about the cloud? Anyone looking for a cloud architect? Use the cloud emoji. Trish gave a great example yesterday. Put up the phone, okay? The phone emoji often brings up phone numbers. So there's loads of different things that you can think of. Just start paying more attention to how people use emojis. And look at all of the options that you have here, okay? So we've got construction workers. We've got a person wearing a turban. We have a woman technologist. We have a woman mechanic. We've got teachers. We've got students. So to find the emojis, the easiest way that I have on Google Chrome is to right-click, and the top option is emoji. Click on it. It will bring up your emoji board, okay? Well done, Vim. Lightning bolts for the energy sector. Brilliant, brilliant. Okay, guys, if you've got any other emoji ideas, we're all here to learn. Pop them into the chat. I'd love to hear from you guys. Right, so what I want to do now is I want to go and have a look at GitHub, because I think GitHub is a phenomenal platform for finding developers and tech people. I really, really enjoy it. However, so many people use it badly. And, you know, when you've got over 73 million users on the platform, let's not ignore it. So the first thing that I see people doing wrong is that they go to GitHub, they open up their account, and that's what I recommend you do. Go to github.com, sign up for GitHub, tell them that you're there to be a student, that you're there to learn. And this is where most people get stuck, because they land on the GitHub page, they find the search bar, and what happens, they do what all recruiters do in error, is that they'll go and type in a full stack engineer in California and hope that someone will pop up. Now, as you can see from the results there, not a lot of people pop up when you go and search that way. So what I want to do is I want to share with you what is the best way that I find to go and search on GitHub. And it's a very, very simple way of starting off these searches. But before we do this, I just want to really encourage you to do a little bit of research yourself and learn the difference between an open and a closed source software. Okay, so how do you remember this? For me, open, I just remember free. Okay, for anything that's closed, I just remember something that you're going to pay for. And think of tech giants, Amazon, Microsoft, all of that is like paid for closed source technologies. So the open source technologies, JavaScript, your Python, PHP, Swift, Go, Kotlin, okay? And then your closed source are the ones that often have the tech giant name attached. Opera, Microsoft Windows, Adobe Flash, Google Earth, okay? When we're searching on GitHub, it always really helps to know the difference between open and closed source technologies. Now, the big thing is that when you're searching on GitHub, a lot of people over here get a little bit confused with location, because they don't actually write location, no space, colon, no space, Austin, okay? And what you can see that pops up here is I get 29,000 developers in Austin, Texas, who have got a GitHub profile. So this is the first step. So I have looked for location. Now, the second step is obviously we need to look for a coding language, right? So remember, we don't want to be looking for a job title. I'm going to show you how we're going to add the job title a little bit later. But here we've got location, Austin. I want you to take quick notes of the button on the far right-hand side that says sort best match. because there you can sort people based on when they joined, how many repositories they have, how many followers they have, and it really does mix up your results nicely. So now that we have found all of the developers in Austin, let's go and see what we can look for next. So what we're going to go and look for over here, we're staying with our Python theme, is we're looking for the language of Python. Now, if you go and type this into the search bar on GitHub and you go location, okay, Austin, language, Python, you are coming up with developers who have loaded code into repositories onto their GitHub profile, and their results are now popping up. So I've taken those 30,000 search results and I've narrowed them down to 3,000, okay? So this is a great way to get started with your searches. Keep it simple. You can put in a second language, okay? Just don't overcomplicate it. GitHub gets a little bit confused every now and again. Now, the question often comes up, okay, when you put in location Austin, language Python, and you just put in the word full. So now you're looking for someone who's maybe a full stack developer, or as one of my results popped up and told me they were a full-time geek. Maybe this is how we are picking up the people in their bio, okay? So the location comes from their location that they've added onto their GitHub profile. The language comes from the code that they have put into their repositories. And this one over here is Python. And the full comes from picking up the word in the person's bio, okay? So you can look for someone who's got the word full in their bio and they also have loaded code in Python, okay? Just remember, after the language has to be an open source coding language. And that's why we need to understand the difference between open and closed source. So if I want to leave out the language altogether, so Kubernetes is not an open source coding language, I'm just going to put it in by itself there. And you can see, looking in Austin over here, I now get people in their bio who talk about Kubernetes. Okay. Is this making sense? If you've got any questions, you can ask them in the chat. Hopefully, Kerry, Trish, Batman, everyone's here. They can help me with the answers, because the more people we can help, the better. Okay. Excellent. So what's another good reason for using GitHub? Okay. My favorite thing about finding talent on GitHub is the fact that you are going to find 99% of people's email addresses. Now, seriously, are you going to be able to do that on any other platform out there? Okay. So this is why GitHub is such a gem for looking for tech talent. Jonathan, should we put a in between? No, just write it out in a line and leave a space between the location, the language, and then something else, whatever you're looking for. So let's have a look at this over here. The first of 3 ways, okay, that we can find email addresses. Number 1, it's given to us. It's put on a platter, okay? So there we go. They have, Carl has given us his email address. Thanks for playing, okay? The second way, my favorite Chrome extension to use in conjunction with GitHub is a Chrome extension called OctoHR. Its name is up there, and you can put the OctoHR Chrome extension in, install it, and it helps you to read people's profiles. As you can see there, it's broken down the open source coding languages that the person has, and it also gives me the email address. Now, the third way, and slightly more complex way, Megan, thanks for that link, you're a star, is and this, I had to use this picture over here because for me, one of the things, yes, it only works for GitHub, OctoHR. One of the things that I love about GitHub, and I was just saying in my training today, I think I'm going to write a book about it, is how interesting the profile photos are, okay? So I had to show you this one from this gent in Seattle. So what you do is, if you can't find it, if they don't give it to you, if you can't find it on OctoHR, go into their repositories. And this guy has got 347 groups of code that we can go and have a look at. And what I want you to do is I want you to find a repository over here that hasn't been forked. So the Ring repository has been forked, which means it comes from someone else. So he has taken someone else's code, he's forked it. So if I go and find the email address for this one over here, what's going to be happened is that I'm going to find the original author's email address, okay? Which is great. I mean, the more email addresses, the better. but I want to find this guy's email address. So go with the one that hasn't been forked, which is my first option. So when you click on that repository, it brings up a list, and you have got folders, you have got files, okay? Now, when you see the single piece of paper or the file, where my red rectangle is, you need to click on the middle column, okay? This is going to bring up the code. Do you need to be able to read this code? Hell no, okay, definitely not. There is the code. What you need to do at this point is go up to the URL or the website, and at the very end, I want you to type in .patch. Now, what this does is it takes you back into the source code of the GitHub website, and always in the second line is going to be this person's email address, okay? So this is a great trick to learn. It's one of the first tricks that I learned when I started sourcing in the tech space. So I'm going to quickly go and run through that again, okay? So click on repositories. When you get the repositories, find one that hasn't been forked. Click on it. Click on the middle column next to the piece of paper. It's just easier. It loads less code. Then when you see the code, you don't have to read the code. Go to the URL, type .patch at the end, and the result is always going to be in the second line, okay? If it's been forked, what you're going to do is you're going to get the original person who wrote the code's email address. Okay. But guys, moving on. Who has heard of github.io? Who goes and searches here? Awesome. So this is a place that you should be going to search. So when you go and sign up for GitHub, GitHub says to you, we are going to give you a free landing page. Think sites like about.me, card.co, where people can land one-page landing documents, okay? And what you do is don't even worry about going there. Go and x-ray them from the outside. Just remember, into your search string, folks, throw in CV, resume, vitae, or portfolio, any words that go with the CV or resume or anything like that. And then put in your keywords. I just put in front end, Node, Austin. Okay, I must have been sourcing in Austin at the time of putting this presentation together. And it wasn't today. I made a few changes today, though. And here what you can see, what pops up is 177 results, okay, which is just brilliant. And what have you got there is that you have got people's CVs. So that's all that you really need, isn't it? On a CV, you're going to get all the contact information. You're going to get everything that you need, okay? Also, another example that you could do, I went on to to Google, I x-rayed into github.io, I just put in CV, resume, vitae, portfolio, put in full stack, I put in Seattle, oopsie, hold on, jumped ahead, put in full stack, put in Seattle, and I came up with 1,000 CVs of people who have got full stack written on their CVs. How cool is that? Okay, Jessica, to answer your question, do I always put the website first? Yes, if I'm x-raying into a specific website, I will definitely do that. Okay, moving on. Batman, make it quick. I want to move on to now how to find resumes on the internet. Okay, so a lot of people pay money to have CV databases and job boards and all of those things. But to be honest with you, you really and truly don't need them. Okay. So let's have a look at the different kind of search strings that we can put into our searches. So we can search under a file type, okay? So I started with a PDF because I like to think that most people will PDF their CV. However, I have been proven wrong in the past. So if you go file type, PDF, you're looking for a developer, programmer, coder, CV, resume, vitae in New York. I just get rid of the words that pop up a lot, like sample, jobs. And you can see I'm getting 205,000 results of people's CVs. Okay. So guys, this is an amazing way to go and search under file types. And this way you can go and search through the whole internet. Sorry, quick drink there. Okay, next type, because you get more than one type of file type, right? So the next thing you could be looking for is file type, a Word document. You can put in pretty much the same keywords and you're still coming up with 145,000 results. Guys, also go and have a look at images. Images. I mean, look at what's popping up on my screen over here. The screenshot is that you can see people's CVs. You can read them straight away. Also, guys, don't forget Google Docs. It's something that I've recently discovered thanks to my friend Batman. And pretty much you can go and say sites.docs.google.com. And do you know how many people don't actually make sure that they lock down their Google Docs and how many CVs you're going to find there? So, guys, it's a really fantastic way to go and find CVs for free using Google, using one of these search strings. And the last search string, take out all your file types. Okay, don't worry about them. You can just say developer or programmer or coder, CV or resume or vitae, and you still are going to be coming up with results. Okay, so remember, there's 3 different search strings here. Remember, you're getting a recording. So I can see some people asking about a recording. You're getting a recording. You can take all these search strings and go and play with them. Okay. So, Carrie, how are we doing for time here? How much longer do I have? Because I want to move on to my favorite websites. Okay.
So we're going until 1:25. So you've got, let's say, 10 minutes or so till questions. 10 or 12 minutes. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Perfect. Okay. Yeah, Batman, do you want to answer that question? Do you recommend using Google Sheets? I mean, that Nafar just asked. Good question, Nafar. I'm not too sure if Batman knows about Google Sheets. So, right. So what I want to talk about here, guys, is I want to talk about glossary tech. Now, those of you guys who are new to the sourcing space, and I know there's a couple of you here, all I can say is welcome to the most amazing industry. What I want to talk about is 2 things with glossary tech. First of all, can someone please pop the link to the glossary tech Chrome extension into the chat for me? I would really appreciate it. This is an amazing tool if you want to learn about tech sites or tech terminology, should I say. It's the way that I kind of got to know the lingo and understand what all of these funny people were talking about. Thanks, Mark, you're a beaut. So glossary tech is amazing as a Chrome extension. It works on LinkedIn, it works on GitHub, it works on Stack. It is phenomenal. But also what I want to just remind you about is, as my friend Vim said, they've got a phenomenal website. So don't wait to try and find a term on someone's profile and then activate glossary tech. If you actually go to their website, there's a search functionality up there where you can go and you can type in whatever the terminology is that you are looking for. So I went with Docker, and you know what the nice thing about this is? The definition is actually written in English. Okay, and I know that sounds quite weird, but it's written in English that we can understand. It wasn't written by some like tech guru that we can't understand. It really is super easy, easy for us to digest. The next tool that I want to share with you, okay? This is a very cool website to verify Gmail addresses. But wait, okay? So if you go to this website up here, the tools.epos.com, you can go and verify a Gmail address. So if you have a look at the image on the left, I went, put in my Gmail address, and there we go. It says that this is Vanessa, this account is valid. Then on the right, I put in a Gmail address that isn't valid, and on the right, and it tells me, actually, problem, there is no Google account found with this email, okay? Now, something very cool that I have discovered with this tool, okay, is that if you spend a lot of time on the tech platforms like this, does this look familiar on GitHub? Okay, you find a platform and all you get is the person's username. So you don't even get the person's image. We can't run an image search. I just get SQL Geek. Now, do you know what I've been discovering after years of doing this is that if you go and take the SQL Geek and you put it in front of the Gmail address, it really often is what the person's Gmail address is. So we need to start paying more attention to usernames in the tech space because a lot of them are very synonymous with the Gmail address. So what I did was I put SQLgeek@gmail.com into this tool. And what it came back with is that this guy's name is actually Rusty Chapin. Here we go. SQL Geek. There's his email address. And then I can find him on there. Now, the other thing is, another cool website is to go and run it through something called whatsmyname.app. Okay? So Yeah, poor Rusty. But you know what? Rusty mustn't be so cryptic. I don't agree with that. So I've got to give you a good website here. It's called What's My Name app. And again, take the person's username, shoot it into here. Just remember, if you look at the top right-hand side of that screenshot, you want to get all the results excluding porn. I mean, it's what I go with. No one needs to see that in the general workday. And you can see what's happened is it has found out 39 instances, okay, of where SQL Geek has a profile on other platforms. So you'll see here we've got Discuss. We can see he's on Reddit. We can see he's on YouTube. He's on Garmin Connect. So hopefully he gets up and walks around a bit. Audio Jungle, Theme Forest, and there's loads. There's 39 on there. So don't just stop there with the person's username. You can use it across other sites. Okay, an oldie but a goodie. This is one of the first tricks that I learned when I entered the sourcing world. And you know what? It is such a strong go-to for me. So first things first, you need to have a Twitter account to enable you to use this website called Follow a Wonk. Let's see if anyone's still using Follow a Wonk in the chat. I'd love to see it because it really is a golden oldie. But how does it work? Is that you connect your Twitter account, okay? You connect your Twitter account over here, and you can go then and search through Twitter profiles, okay? So you've got machine learning, which I put in here as what we're searching for. I just said, let's look in California, search Twitter profiles. There we go. And, oh, nice, Wim. Yeah, I love this. And look at the results that came up. Did I give you the number of results? Yeah, if we have a look at the bottom over here, I came up with 278 results from people's Twitter profiles and bios. And there we go. Here are some of the results. Okay. So it is a great place to go and find talent, to isolate Twitter profiles, and just to have other ways to go and look for people. Twitter, I love their native search. I love X-Raying, but Follow a Wonk, I generally kind of find that I normally start defaulting to this tool. I love it. Okay. Right. So I just want to share with you, I knew it round about this time of my presentation, as always. I always seem to be running out of time, but I want to leave you with a few other ideas because I know that there's a lot of kindred spirits in the chat that, think about LinkedIn Recruiter. We often talk about, things like the Blue Devil, and we talk about dumbing down recruiters. But I want to give you a couple of ideas of where you can go and find, other talents across anywhere on the net. And these are the newest sites that I've discovered that you can go and find that. Oh, Sam, good question. Hire easy. Occasionally, Sam, but I like to do it old school and have a look there. Okay. Right. Coming up. So I just want to know, Kaggle, guys. A couple of sites that I want to share with you. I've got 8, and then I'm going to open it up for questions. So Kaggle is an awesome place for data scientists. I find that, you don't always find your data scientists on the mainstream tech sites, but they seem to spend a lot of time on Kaggle due to the, the competitions on there where you can earn an absolute amazing amount of US dollars, which is appealing to anyone. Yes, amazing hiring, also great. Guys, there's Seekout, there's Hire Easy, there's loads of tools that I use. For me, there's many ways to skin a cat. Dev.to, I don't know if everyone has discovered Dev.to yet. It's a very up-and-coming tech platform. I like to refer to it as the LinkedIn for developers because, as we know, we have a lot of people that are moving away from LinkedIn just because of the how do I say this politely, or shouldn't I? Just the harassment issue there of developers on LinkedIn. So Dev has pretty much come up again. And Dev is where you find a lot of people sharing information, not necessarily in code so we can understand it. They're blogging, they're writing articles, they're interacting. It's a great site. It is dev.to, okay? So let me just quickly pop that into the chat. Look, it's just like a training session. Next one of my favorite, Stack Overflow, Q&A site. Great place to go and find tech talent. I'd recommend it. And Credly is another one. So you know that a lot of the sites that we look for, we can only really look for open source coding languages, or it's easier. Credly is a great source to find anyone who's got any certifications. I see a couple of people asking about healthcare sites. I was actually asking some ladies yesterday, and 2 came up. One was care.com, and the other one was rent-a-daughter or something like that.com for in the health space. But let me explain to you quickly how Credly works. When people get their certifications, and it could be anywhere, it could be an HR certification, could be a supply chain certification, they will register it on Credly. We see them all the time on LinkedIn. We don't just always pay attention to them, okay? So these are the 4 sites that I would recommend start, trying to have a little bit of a squiz around, maybe an X-ray from the outside, as well as Reddit. And I'm going to give Wim a shout out over here in the chat. He's very active at the moment. Thanks, Wim, for your support. He is, for me, the go-to person when it comes to Reddit, him and Erin Matthews. So if you need any help, because Reddit isn't as straightforward as it is, but as the most, I read recently that is the 21st most popular website in the world. So we need to actually go and find people there. Twitter, very overlooked. I've shown you follower wonk today, okay? Twitter is a great place to go and find talent, especially tech talent, okay? It really is amazing for that. I found a lot of tech talent on there. Oh, thanks, Megan. Guys, Megan's just dropped the Reddit sourcing toolbox in there. Take that link. It's golden. Another one that I've discovered that's quite new, it's a site called zindi.africa, okay? So let me just quickly put that into the chat. It's actually not just from Africa, it's worldwide. And it's also for your data scientists, your machine learning, AI kind of candidates. Okay. And finally, Hackerrank. Please, a lot of you don't realize is that you can use Hackerrank for free. You don't have to sign up. You don't have to pay any dollars anywhere. You can go and find people based on their rankings, on the assessments that they've done. And it is a great way to find good global people, should I say. Right. So guys, on that note, I'm pretty much spot on time. If you want to get hold of me, if you have any questions, and they can be now or they can be when you're watching the recording, I know what it's like. There's my website, there's my LinkedIn, connect with me. There's a beautiful leopard sitting in a tree in South Africa, and I'm not difficult to find. So guys, thank you for attending my chat. I'm happy to answer any questions. I know that there have been loads coming through during my presentation. I hope that they've been answered. If not, please just reach out to me and I will assist you. Thanks for being here, guys. I really appreciate it.
Awesome. Thank you, Van. This has been fabulous. Loads and loads of questions. I did try to catch like one question or two that didn't get answered in the chat. And one of them was going back at facesearch.com.
Yes.
Folks were curious, what were you actually putting into the face, the face search box?
I'm going back in my presentation, so don't look. You're going to get seasick. Like I'm feeling a little bit at the moment. This is exactly what I put into the face search, guys, is engineer Kubernetes Chicago. That's all I put into face search. So you go to the website, you put it in, and then you have, you can put in engineer Kubernetes and Chicago. Okay.
Awesome. Perfect.
Okay.
And then when you did a right click on the image search, was something supposed to pop up specifically? Like I think when you were doing the image search?
So, you know, I saw a lot of people talking about that, and I think a lot of people have downloaded Google Lens, which, no offense, I find to be quite painful. I've removed it, okay? So you can remove it, you can disable it, you have to go into your Chrome flags and things like that. But just Google it, that's how I found it. Google it and it will talk you through the instructions. So the easiest way is that when you go to the person's LinkedIn profile, click on it so that you get the image as big as possible, okay? And then you go right click, and then you should have the option popping up that says search Google for images.
Okay, awesome. Okay. I'm trying to follow the chat to see if there's any other questions, but we were really good about answering them as they go. If you all had any
I had a lot of help.
Yes, it was awesome.
Brilliant.
Let's see.
When Google Lens will work, but it's just an extra step, Adam. So yeah, I've got one here. When doing X-ray searches, could your searchings include the various platforms and websites you mentioned? They could do, but for me, there's always maybe a little anomaly or something different that you need to add to your search string. So I like to search a website at a time. I mean, sure, if you've got Hire Easy and things like that, which are wonderful tools, amazing hiring, Seek Out, whatever you use, you can go and search across multiple platforms at one time. But if I'm X-raying myself from Google, I will go and do one at a time. Okay. Thanks,
Awesome.
Drew.
Someone was asking if we could do emojis in a LinkedIn recruiter search, but I think you have to X-ray that, right?
Well, that's a challenge for you guys. Go and connect with me on LinkedIn, and when you do, I have emojis in my name for that very reason. And also, I have them there because when I get spammed by bots and they don't remove the emojis, I know that I'm speaking to a bot and not a human being. So yeah.
Another question from Jackie. Do you know off the top of your head any sites like Kaggle and Github and stuff like that for sales or marketing?
From a US context, no, but if anyone else does, guys, please throw it into the chat. Let's help each other out here. For me, salespeople generally tend to be all over LinkedIn. They're a little bit like recruiters. So, I mean, LinkedIn's always a great place for sales and marketing people, as Batman and Joe are saying over here. So that would be a good place to go and have a look.
It looks like we're generating a lot of interest in follower wonk as well. There was a question to understand if you could, let's see, exclude company profiles in follower wonk. Is that possible? Do you know?
I don't think that you can exclude them, to be honest. But for me, I don't really find that there's any need, because a company profile that comes up as a result on follower wonk looks different because it's going to have the company logo. So what I tend to do is I will just kind of glance over that one, and then I will find one where it's got someone's photo, because I think that those ones are more actually connected with a personal profile. I don't find too many company ones coming up, to be honest. It's never really been something that's given me a headache that I've thought about how to remove them. So I wouldn't know. So,
right.
Interesting. Joe is saying go and have a look at Polywork. I've joined Polywork, but I haven't got my head around it yet. Thanks, Joe. Any other questions? Carrie, how are we going time-wise? Sorry, I didn't really...
we have 2 minutes, so we're good.
Any questions? Anyone else?
1 minute now.
1 minute. Okay, we have 1 minute. Excellent.
Folks are looking for...
Well done, Joe. No, Joe's just saying that he made a hire of Polywork yesterday. That's brilliant. Okay, I haven't done that yet. I need to get stuck into the platform.
Yeah, me too.
So...
Amazing.
Okay, cool. So guys, if you want, why don't you just start throwing your LinkedIn links into the chat? Let's connect. Let's stay connected. I thank you for your time. Thank you for attending, guys. This is my SourceCon shirt from Seattle when I presented in 2019. It's really looking a little bit old and tired. So I think what we need to do is we need to have another conference to get some more swag and some more T-shirts. So yeah, I look forward to seeing you all in person.
All right, great. Thanks so much. It was amazing. This has been fabulous.
Carrie, you're great. Thank you.
Thank you. Everybody have a great day, and we'll see y'all in the main. I think we're going to the main room now. Or no, we're networking now. So see y'all later.